Hey everyone, this is V.
And Allena.
This episode is dedicated to July Munoz. You will forever and always be connecting queer folks and partying like it's 1999, wherever you are. Rest in power. And we wanted to take a moment real quick to alert you that this month's episode will include conversations around suicide ideation and prevention. We know that suicide has impacted so many of us in the LGBTQ community, and we want to let you know we're here.
If you or someone you know is in a crisis, there are folks always available to help you. You can call or you can text 988, and that is a suicide and crisis lifeline. They are available 24/7 to help you, so do not hesitate to use that resource. We hope everyone finds light and hope in these trying times. We love you so much, Queer Kittens.
Deep love, deep love. Welcome to Quest, a journey to wellness. My name is V, aka Vanessa. I'm a two-spirit human, joy influencer, energy worker, and dad joke connoisseur. All pronouns accepted.
And my name is Allena. I use she, her pronouns. I am a cat lady, queer, your empirical evidence bae, and I like to keep it funky, 420, and am often guilty of romanticizing.
Come on a quest to find out what wellness really means. You'll hear stories from queer folks and allies who've successfully taken their happiness and well-being into their own hands by examining what they have found helpful along the way.
If you're curious about wellness, this is our open platform for queer stories, interesting science, and other folks' alternative wellness practices.
We hope this podcast brings you joy where you'll learn, laugh, heal, and grow.
All right, queer kittens, welcome to our bonus episode, The Giver. This is our 2022 year-end wrap-up, and we're calling it The Giver because we love to give. And honestly, it quite suits the amazing soul that we interview in this episode here. Something that's really fun for V and I to do is to trigger the conservative. So tell me, V, what do we have on the gay agenda for this episode?
Oh man, it's so good. So we're going to just kind of wrap up everything we've learned this past year on these episodes and re-encapsulate all the really important lessons that we've all learned. And just, we also have, like you said earlier, our wonderful interview that we've got coming up from Melissa that we met and went camping with at Some of Us Fest. And if for y'all that don't know what that is, look it up right now. Instagram, Some of Us Fest. And then at the end, we're going to have a special announcement for y'all. So we've got some bittersweet news for the pod, but you're going to have to wait till later to hear it.
In the past few months of this Quest podcast, we've examined and have hit some highs and some lows in our quest for wellness with you over these past few months. And we want to thank you for embracing all of these stories and the folks telling them that we've had on this podcast so far. This month, we dove very deeply into suicide ideation and prevention. And we know the depths of emotions could have triggered lots of folks. And we really hope that it hasn't been too taxing to listen to. We've all really been shedding lots of tears over here, the whole team. It's been quite a month for us. Suicide ideation and prevention has been truly one of the most important conversations that we've ever had so far on the pod. And we've heard from so many of you. And just by listening to those conversations, we hope that it helps you in your quest to wellness.
I guess the best way to wrap it up for me, what I've learned a lot in these past episodes that we've done, bringing your best, most authentic self, and whether that looks to you in your mind as messy, bring it. bring it. The community will be here because we all get a little messy sometimes. But you know what? The community is here and we'll be messy together and we'll figure it out however that timeline looks. Like that saying that everybody thinks might be a bit cheesy, but it's so true that the dark helps the light shine. So bring that darkness with you and let's hang out. But another big thing that I've learned too that I was like, I need to remind myself every day of is compassion for myself. Because I'm a giver. I can hand out compassion like nobody's business. I don't even got to think about it. But when it comes to myself, I have to remember I need to give that to myself because I can be pretty hard on me. And I'm sure there's some of y'all out there that can be the same way. So be nice to yourself. One more thing that I learned that I thought was really big is the importance of play. A lot of times I'd be like, that's not what I want to do because that's for kids. And now I'm like, yeah, that's for kids. I'm going to go do that because I'm following my joy more now. And in these podcasts, it really has taught me the importance of following your joy because then you're just like this like robot following, I don't want to say your P's and Q's, but like you following the script of the American dream and it's kind of draining. Got to remember to live and be alive. And I feel like doing that with community, like just amplifies it so much. And it's just so beautiful and kind of stepping away from capitalism, I guess you could say. Our Re-Indigenize Your Life episode where capitalism is kind of tearing us apart, making us eat dog world. Don't let people tell you how to think, what to think, when to think it, and don't let people shove you in a box. Be as authentic as you can and be with your community. Go hang out and color in coloring books or go ride some skateboards or fly a kite, whatever. If you enjoy it, just do it.
Yeah, I think you definitely hit on something, a big truth there. And capitalism is designed to extract. That's, its whole thing is endless growth designed to extract. And all the stuff you just mentioned is the antidote to that, right? It's not going to advance your career to go fly a kite. It's not going to beef up your 401k to be with community. But you know what? It is going to completely impact your life. And those things are absolutely antithetical. And by participation of community, of play, of taking care of yourself, of minding your mind, minding your body, you're actively resisting. I know, V, you joke that you're not very political, but man, I tell you, you're one of the best pundits out there of resistance and of activism, truly. So it's funny a lot of the folks that are seemingly apolitical are actually, some of the most effective folks out there making those changes that we so desperately need in our society.
Thanks. It's all those boxes I was shoved in. I really, really want to thank everybody that listens to us and everyone that's involved in this podcast, because a huge thing that this podcast has also brought for me is like, I really was skeptical on that whole starfish story. I don't know if you know about the starfish story with like the little kid on the beach, but like hundreds of starfish are on the shore and the little kid is throwing the starfish back in the water and this adult is like, what are you doing? There's hundreds of them. And the little kid picks up a starfish, meant something to that one. Picks up another starfish, meant something to that one. And keep throwing them in. And I was just like, that's silly. But now, like, hearing all these different people saying how impactful our podcast is, it's like, those little starfish are huge to me. And I'm like, okay, you know what? We can make a difference. And it just really makes me believe in community even more. And the starfish story, all of it just gets me really excited.
One starfish at a time, right?
Exactly. I think one of the biggest things that has been heavy on my heart, but also that this podcast has kind of really shined a light on the importance of reaching out and community. A lot of us on this podcast, we all met in the nightlife, and we're all grieving a pivotal human who, through these amazing events geared toward queer folks and women, and I think some of the most closest people I have in my life right now is because of these events. We're all grieving in our own ways, but we're all trying to do our best to communicate to each other and do it together and not alone. Just the importance of reaching out to one another, and us now having this opportunity of being here for each other. Like, it's important not only to be there for someone, but allowing some people to be there for you. Mental health, man, it's not easy. People judge themselves for where they're at in their mental health based off of some idea of you're supposed to be here, you're supposed to be there by this age and that. And timelines, man, they don't exist. Timelines are just screwing all of us and putting these expectations that are not real. They're not real. Timelines do not exist. I wanted to make that really important because of our guest that we have on this show, goes to show you, like, everybody's quest is different. Don't compare your quest to anybody else or expect yourself to be here because somebody else is there at that same age that you are. So without further ado, here we have an interview with a dear friend of ours, Melissa, that we interviewed at the Some of Us Festival.
How do you define wellness for yourself?
What I've experienced in the moments I've had of wellness is just like a complete calm and happiness in my mind, which isn't all the time. So my goal is to really work on that, so I have that all the time.
Mm-hmm. And that's why you're here. Yeah. Because second question, if you could define wellness in one word and where you are right now, what would it be?
Questioning. Because I think that kind of encompasses everything that I'm doing for this weekend. But if I'm questioning, then that also means I'm curious, and that means I want to gain knowledge. So I find that it's just a complete opener to everything.
Yeah, it's great. What does community mean to you where you are now? And also, do you think the last 3 years has helped you connect? Were there ways virtually that we were able to connect around community? Or did you find it a real struggle because you just kind of been on your path?
Community, I think, in a way, still trying to find it. But I guess what I mean more is that I'm trying to fit into it. The community's already there. And I think I've found the community. It's interesting because community isn't just a word to describe a group of people. Community, you can also find in an individual person. And we can see that here. You can, in everybody. And I can see that. And I feel like such an outsider still. So I'm just looking for that. I think I've always been looking for it, and I just didn't know until recently when I kind of started to put myself first and start to realize what it was that I really needed. The pandemic really showed me that, now I had to go to work, to be honest with you, but my family had to stay at home. And I think just seeing more of nobody at work, because I was really one of the only ones there, is when I started to realize that I do need to find something more and search for it. Because if even I can't find it in my own household, where is it? And it was a hard time because I was going through that anyways during the pandemic. So it was definitely more hard trying to find that, going through certain, it's like, it's not good timing, right? To try to go on a personal journey when there's a pandemic, when you need that personal touch, when you need that face-to-face interaction. So it was not good timing. And I feel like I've been on this journey for a while, but I think a lot of those realizations came definitely during the pandemic, and that was difficult. But we're here now, and that's what's been most encouraging, is to just meet and see people that, I mean, you could just see them and you can see the community in their expression. And that's what I'm mostly loving about this so far.
Yeah, that's awesome. Kind of bringing back some of the conversations that we're having about alternative or non-traditional ways of healing. What are some of the ways in your life or, recently as you've been on this wellness journey that you have tried that you feel like have worked maybe? And what are the things that you are looking to try, or like the alternative kind of maybe therapies or holistic practices or indigenous practices?
So I haven't tried much, to be honest with you. And I don't have much experience with many alternative items, I think, because when I grew up in a time where I was just kind of fearful of it. But on the flip side, I've always been open to it. There was just this anxiety of what if, and I don't want to be that bad story of that one time. So there's always been that, but I've always been completely open and very encouraging for other people to try whatever they need to find themselves or see what makes them happy or what works.
What are those things specifically?
Oh, I mean, it could be anything from, the other kind of recreational drugs, or it could be, going deep into yoga, having that purpose and that desire to really find something that brings that calmness to you. Well, I have tried, those floating pods. I didn't get anything from it. No, it was fun. I did it for an hour and it just didn't work for me personally. Last year, also during the pandemic, I was in an inpatient facility for about 10 days. And when I came back, I still had communication with some of the people that I met there. It was really great. And there was this time where I came home from work and I knew I had about an hour or so before other people started showing up. So I laid down, I said, I'm going to meditate. I'm going to really try to find something. So I just scrolled, of course, through YouTube, searching for a certain kind. And this amazing, I can't name or anything right now because I can't remember, but it was all about inner child work and speaking to that inner child, which is one of my biggest things right now. And I just felt something that I had never felt before. And I think it was just really the timing, right? So I was free from anybody in the house. I was on my own. I was ready for it. I was open to it, welcoming it. And I knew there weren't going to be distractions or anything. And it just worked. And I'm talking physicalness. I felt like shaking. I was crying. And it was just a few words for about 10 minutes. And it was amazing. But you don't get that all the time, right? So it's just being willing to be open to whatever is going to work, or at least experience whatever you think is going to work for you. But I am open. I'm just don't have resources. So
we're resources.
Yeah. Well, like I told you, the movie that I watched, he was dealing with, there was a doctor who was really trying to deal with this patient of his. And he went a few times to, I forget which country, to learn about ayahuasca. And he came back, and I think he was in Canada. He went back to Canada and ended up having this patient come to the house and said, if you want to try it, I will guide you through it. And he did. And his experience, the way he talked about it is something I was looking for, because he was talking about how, you're an adult, but it was really needing to get back to that time. It could be one or many or whatever, the traumatic moments in your life that made you get stuck in that certain period in time and has resulted in so many other issues, right? Especially in relationships and stuff. And that's what I want. I just want to get back there so I can deal with myself from that back then. And then, hopefully those walls will come down.
May I ask, when you had your aha moment and you're like, wellness is important to me and I need to bring this in front of me and not keep brushing it under the rug. I'll get to it. What was that moment you're like, I need to make this part of my life?
I think I've had two moments. And I'll say that almost like a 12-step program. You can relapse. Yeah. My first aha moment was when I was planning to attempt suicide last year, which ended me up in the 72-hour hold and then into an inpatient program. And that is when I started to really understand that I can't do this anymore and it's not worth it. And even though I keep trying to tell myself that, oh, my kids will be fine, they're really resilient, that they wouldn't want me to do that. That was one moment. And when I went into that inpatient facility, I was like, this is my time. I met like so many people from so many different backgrounds, and people were there for so many different reasons. And it was co-ed, so it was wonderful just to meet everyone. But really, I kind of used it almost like a boot camp. So I journaled every day. I read every book that they had there that would help me with this inner child and to see what I was going to be facing and how to really work on that journey. And I have my journal to thank for that, and some of the nurses there that were just so helpful. And that really helped me for the first few months afterwards. And then there was a relapse. And then I go back down again. Then something in our family happened again in November. And then that was the biggest shift of all, because that was me walking out on a 22-year marriage and 2 kids. And now I live somewhere else in an apartment by myself and a cat. And now I feel like I'm really, truly going deeper into myself. So I think that first time was really good to help me kind of come out of that, transition into kind of going home and being a little more stronger on my foot about myself and my well-being. Right after that, there was a time when the family needed to go away for a weekend, and I said, you know what, I'm going to stay home and have like a wellness vacation. If I would do that somewhere else. So I researched like how to do a wellness vacation at home, and I made my own. I made my schedule. I made clean food, and I had meditation, I had yoga, I had a sound bath. I did it, but I just did it by myself because I just needed that time, right? And it worked. For those moments to kind of start me, to give me those like stepping stones. And then when everything kind of went back to normal again or whatever, and I had my next moment. And that was a big, big difference. For me to actually leave is a big difference. Everything from my divorce being final in July. This is huge, because I mean, there's tangible evidence that I am putting myself first. And I have great support at home. My kids, I have all my 3 kids, wonderful support. When I first moved out and I moved into my apartment in January, I was like, okay, I'm here. Now what? Mm-hmm. And granted, this is my first time being alone since I was probably actually it's my first time being alone, period. Because I was still living at home when I got pregnant with my daughter at 18, got married, moved to Texas, had her at 19, came back to my parents, moved out for a little bit, but I've always had somebody. I've had her. And then I found my second husband. So I've always been with somebody, even though I was an only child until I was 14. So then I had that whole experience, right? So it's really so entirely new, something that is so fearful for me, but I'm meeting it. And I know I need to now, because if I do anything else, it's probably not going to be the best choice. That's why. And I got plants. I was like, oh, I'll become a plant mom. It'll give me something to do, right? And then finally I was like, okay, I think now I'm ready for an animal. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'm checking off these lists, right? But it is though. And it's just, there's something about just finding something where there's that unconditional love or acceptance and non-judgment that I seek and I feel that I need. And it's wonderful to see that is out there. I'm getting there.
Can you say it?
That I can receive, or that I'm getting there?
That you deserve to receive.
Oh my gosh. No, because I'll cry. I do deserve this. I do. And I need to really feel and believe that I do. I deserve it.
Just saying the words out loud means so much. There's like that voice connection to your mind, body, spirit when you can say it out loud and continually say it to yourself every day. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That could really help, because then you really will truly start believing in it.
Yeah.
In yourself.
Melissa, truly the coolest. I'm
so stoked that she got to camp with us at Some of Us Fest, and spending time with her was phenomenal. Something that really struck me in her interview, and I absolutely adore, is when asked what wellness is in one word for herself or how she would describe it, and she says questioning. And that is so badass. I think, curiosity is so fucking important and is just such a vital ingredient to play. And it makes play all the more fun. It makes community all the more fun, having that curiosity and being brave enough to ask those questions and sort of explore those areas. So yeah, I just absolutely love that that was her word choice for summarizing wellness. The other part that really struck me about her interview was just the tools and resources, right? Like that being such an important aspect, and that really just highlights how important all the things that we learned, in episode 6 with Anna Richmond, how important those resources truly are. Really keeping an eye out for folks that may not be in the best way at any given moment. Again, we pepper it into the past episodes, and of course this will absolutely be linked in show notes. But if you or someone is in crisis, call, text, or 988. It's free, and that is a suicide and crisis lifeline. Reach out for that support. That is there for you. It's there for all of us. Another thing that really struck me that I noted in Melissa's interview, and it's something that, V mentioned too, is just like timelines are not real. Take that expectation off of yourself, right? Like this is a lifelong journey. You're going to have questions every single day in your life. And Melissa shows us that. Melissa has kids, his career has full life going on, and is discovering so much about herself to this day. And so will you. Everyone else will also be finding out so much about yourself at all different points of life. So get those timelines out of your head. Please use and utilize and share the resources that, we shared on this podcast with your friends and your loved ones.
I think what was really inspiring for me was sitting there with her at our campsite and speaking to an adult who is able to look within and be aware of such deep things that not only makes her a better person, but a better parent. It was really beautiful to see her introspection and how she's really diving in and seeing that, okay, my kids are grown. They can take care of themselves, but now I need to take care of me. Like she went through the timeline steps and now is free flowing, like questioning, which is beautiful. And now allowing her children to also be questioning without judgment. And I think that's really beautiful to see from a parent.
It's incredibly inspiring. Like I'll add that I do see in a lot of the fear-mongering discourse, there's this emphasis on family, right? And ironically, the perpetuators of that discourse are the ones who tend to tear families apart the most by being queerphobic and homophobic. And, Melissa is really just this beautiful example of how it brings you closer. It creates a safe space. It allowed her kids to connect with her in a way that would not have been possible otherwise. So I just love, when the evidence in the real life is contrary to the bullshit, because it always is. And just major shouts out to Melissa for raising those gorgeous, amazing kids with beautiful souls that are just as beautiful as her, and really rising to the occasion and being curious, questioning, and going into that. Because the discourse is going to say one thing, but you got to listen to your heart. And you know what? When you do, it's only good things from there.
Speaking about following your heart, we've got some news for y'all queer kittens.
Yeah, kittens. I will be stepping back from the Quest podcast as a host. It's become clear to me that something I really, really want is radical simplicity. I and many other people and most of us so often have to live in a place of reactivity, and we grow up there and we never kind of grow out of it. But the things you have to do to survive aren't the things you need to keep doing forever. And I realized it's hard, and I really didn't want to, but it's very important to prioritize making sure your cup is full. And I really need to get there and make sure that things are aligned, with myself and at home and all that good stuff. I adored doing Quest, learned so much, and, got to speak with just absolutely amazing, incredible people that I wouldn't have crossed paths with otherwise. But yeah, now is the season where I kind of have to make difficult decisions that I know are going to be right for my wellness and put me on the path that I want to be on. And yeah, I had to ask the scary question of what do I want? And I realized that simplicity was that. And I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for it as much as I can.
Yes. I support it.
Major thanks to the Quest crew for being just, beyond supportive. Couldn't have made it easier for me to explain my situation and, accommodate the transition. Yeah, I'm just so grateful to each and every one of you on the team. I'm just beyond grateful.
So mutual. And I'm sure you felt that love in that conversation. We hate to see you leave, but we think this is more and hope it's more of a see you later.
I'll be around, kitties.
I'm always going to be that protective big cousin that's going to be like, you know what? Take care of you and don't do anything that's going to further cause the drainage. We want that cup full. Unfortunately, those are going to be some big shoes to fill in, but I think that it's going to be possible. Definitely possible. They might just need to have a new pair of shoes because your shoes are special. So watch out, y'all. There's going to be a new co-host come in January, and we've got a lot of great content coming. We've got Kaylin Marisol, the Vulva Witch, coming for you. And we're going to be talking about body positivity. We actually had their partner on episode 3, Kenj, if y'all remember. If not, go back and listen. Kaylin is just an amazing human, and her big thing is self-relationship and body connection educator. She's a certified sex educator, so it's going to be a fun one, y'all. And fun stuff. They are new parents. Kenj and Kaylin are new parents, and they named the baby Moon. Isn't it so cute?
Aw, Moon.
Right? So January is a body positivity month on the pod. Let's love ourselves now, queer kittens.
Well, kittens, I really hope you enjoyed this bonus episode. And with that, we're out of this bitch. Goodbye, 2022. Hello, next year. And hello, body positivity. I can't wait to listen to that. That's going to be a fun one. Seriously, love y'all so much. And each and every one of you listening, love you too. You're amazing.
I love you guys too.
We have so much more to explore and share with you on our podcast, and we hope you follow us in our quest to wellness. Tap that follow or subscribe button to get every episode as soon as it's released.
And we'd love to get your feedback also. So if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave us a rating and review. It only takes 30 seconds, but this really helps us to know what resonates and how we can help you.
All right, goodbye, she's, he's, theys, gays, and allies.
I love that. This podcast was produced in collaboration by Kanoko Chocolates and Puka Puka Creative.
And executive producers Stevie Kwa and Corey Houston.
Producer, writer, editor, and sound designer, the amazing Leah Jackson.
And associate producer Rafaela Landestoy. Original music was produced by Basque. He is an amazing musician, and he's also our cousin, third amigo. Let's go. Boo, 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 boo.
And we can't forget the emotional support by Frankie, Ruby, the Braithwaite Kittens,
Meow.
and Pokalani.
You know my heart, V. I love to trigger the conservatives. So thank you. Thank you so much.
We're the same. Especially when women like freak out at me walking in the bathroom. And they're like, and I'm like, oh my God, is there a ghost behind me?